Hi everyone, thanks for listening to my talk and I hope everyone is very well. In this talk, I want to present my work on memory augmented neural network, which is done under supervision of Professor Ghaemmaghami. The proposed method is a memory module for RNNs, which is inspired by the human brain. So first, we will review a model of human memory and some basic structures in deep neural networks. Then, we will discuss some related works, such as memory networks and memory augmented neural networks. Then the proposed method will be explained, followed by a report on the experiments and results. Cognitive psychologists have a consensus on a two-stage memory module, which is first proposed by Marr in 1991. This model states that when we attend to new information passing through our sensory inputs such as eyes or ear, they first go into short-term memory. This stage of memory is fast learning, though has a limited capacity and is at the risk of forgetting. Then, when some conditions are met, this information is transferred to the other stage of memory or the long-term memory. In fact, if some information is supposed to be beneficial for future use, it will be stored in the long-term memory. Research has shown that sleep plays a prominent role in forming long-term memories in the human brain. For example, memory consolidation, or the process of transferring information into the long-term memory, is done during this stage of rapid eye movement in the sleep. Pieces of memory content received as important for the future use are stabilized, and at the same time they may undergo qualitative and quantitative changes. For example, they may be converted from implicit to explicit knowledge. Well, memory is not new in the field of RNN. Specifically, processing sequences indeed need some sort of memory. In vanilla RNN, the hidden state of the network is responsible to hold information from the past and acts as implicit memory. Due to vanishing gradients problem, RNNs usually have problems in keeping information for a long time. That's why LCMs has been proposed. LCM is a variant of RNN in which the hidden layer is composed of specifically designed memory cells. The writing, reading, and clearing operations in each memory cell is done via input, output, and forget gates. LCM-based systems are performing very well in different machine learning tasks such as speech recognition and machine translation. However, they have their own shortcomings. The size of the hidden layer should be increased very fast to have large memory capacities, which deteriorates the performance of on tasks with long-term dependencies. Another key concept used in a proposed memory is graph neural networks. Doing machine learning on Euclidean input such as text, image, and video can be easily done via traditional models like CNNs and RNNs. However, processing input data with graph structure needs a specific system. To do this, graph neural networks have attracted increased attention in recent years. A key concept in many variants of GNNs are transition and output function. A graph is generally considered as a tuple of nodes and edges, which are depicted as x and h matrices in this formula. F, or transition matrix, operates on the nodes and edges, connecting them to produce the new H matrix. This iteration is repeated until a steady state is reached. And in fact, the iterations are used to make an embedding of the graph to understand the graph structure or categorize nodes. Well, the basics is enough, and let us talk a bit about some related works. Memory networks proposed in 2014 were among the first models that used an external memory for RNNs. The memory in this system is discrete, thus not trainable. the system is used for question answering. In this way, the memory is first initialized with text inputs from a dataset, and at the test time for each input question, two related sentences are recalled from the memory and a proper answer is generated based on these two sentences. Another version of memory network is also proposed that is continuous and end-to-end differentiable, so it can be trained via backpropagation. A promising direction for solving the memory problem in deep networks was proposed in 2014, when scientists from Google proposed the neural Turing machine. Neural Turing machine, as shown on the slides, is composed of a controller and an external memory. The interaction between these two modules is done while reading write heads. The NTM is supposed to be modeling the working memory in the human brain. Besides, its structure is fully differentiable, and experiments have shown that the model is able to learn simple algorithmic tasks on input sequences such as copy or copy repeats. An interesting point shows that the underlying procedures that a trained NTM follows is very similar to a conventional program on a conventional computer. Now we get into the details of a proposed method. The proposed method in this paper is a modified version of the original NTM. Mainly, we propose a two-stage model for the external memory that is composed of a short-term and a long-term memory. For the short-term memory, we adopt the matrix-based memory used in the original NTM, and for the long-term memory, we suggest a graph-based structure with dedicated mechanisms for reading and writing. The inspiration behind using a graph-based structure is coming from the way memories are formed in the human brain. Scientists have shown that memories are formed in the human brain via making synapses or connections between neurons. Clearly speaking, the memory is in the brain. In fact, is a huge graph of neurons connected to each other. A neural consolidation network helps us build the connection between these two modules and transfer information between them. The role of sleep in the memory is innovated in this way. Just like the original NTM, we must design three mechanisms for a proposed long-term memory. For addressing, the memory gets three inputs from the controller: a search key, K, a strength factor beta, and a sharpening factor gamma. Then two operations is carried out to generate a weighting vector to be used in other operations. First, the similarity of the search key and memory rows is calculated, followed by a softmax operation as shown in this equation. And then a similarity function might be the cosine similarity function. Second, a sharpening operation with parameter gamma is done on the interim weighting vector as shown in the last equation, and the resulting weight vector will be used for writing onto or reading from the memory. For reading from the long-term memory, three vectors are calculated. First vector is called normal read vector and is basically a weighted sum of the rows of matrix M. This is similar to read vectors in the NTM memory. Second vector is called forward read vector, which is sum of rows of matrix resulting from multiplying E matrix and by M matrix. This is in fact a weighted sum of the memory nodes according to the forward relation with the memory cells. Third vector is the same as the second vector, unless it is calculated based on the backward relations between the memory nodes. For writing on the memory, three steps are conducted. First, using an erase vector and a write vector A, the memory matrix is updated. The old information which are no longer needed are cleared and new information is written to the memory. Then the adjacency matrix E is updated by adding the multiplication of current and previous weighting vectors. Third, the transition function of a matrix is applied consecutively to read and reach an embedding version of the memory graph. The last step helps solve complex tasks that need abstract representation of memory content. To emulate the memory consolidation that happens during sleep, we take an extra step to system iteration. In this step, the content of the short-term memory is reviewed by a memory consolidation network via soft attention mechanism. Then, this network outputs the writing parameters to the long-term memory, which are used to update its content. Again, for simplicity, an LSTM is used for the memory consolidation network as well. During the review process, two or more vectors are read via soft attention and fed into the MCN. The MCN's output will be interface parameters for writing onto the graph-based memory. Using these parameters, the writing procedure detailed in previous slides is followed to update the long-term memory. We do experiments on the famous Bobby dataset, which consists of 20 tasks for assessing different aspects of NLP reasoning. Two simple types of these tasks is shown on this slide. We have implemented a proposed method using the PyTorch NTM implementation as a baseline. Moreover, in our implementation, the aim matrix is initiated to small constant values and initial read vectors are variables to be learned. ARMS prop has been used for training and gradients are crude to plus minus 10 to represent gradient exploding. The loss function to be optimized is the binary cross entropy. For each task, first a vocabulary of all words is created by assigning a random vector from a d-dimensional unitary cube. Then these words are from the fact sentence and the question sentence are concatenated to form the input sequence, and the vectors corresponding to the answer word will be used as the output sequence. Input sequences are padded with empty vectors to reach the maximum length of the input sequence. The width of each memory cell n is set to d, the dimensionality of the vocabulary, and n, the size of memories, are set to the maximum length of the input sequence for each task. The optimum value for d is found via experiments on validation set. As this table suggests, the optimal value for d is 16, and it was selected for the rest of the experiments. This table shows the error rate of the proposed method in 20 Bobby tasks compared to the baseline system. In the Bobby experiment, the system is said to be successful when solving the task if its prediction error is below 5%. For the first 5 columns, we have mentioned the best result reported in the corresponding references, and the proposed system has performed better than the conventional NTM in the performance error as the number of successful tasks, and the average error of the proposed system is on 18 of these tasks is below 3%, and it can handle 16 tasks successfully. A strongly supervised memory network shows the best result among all the systems discussed here. This is because, unlike the other systems, the system uses information about supporting facts for each question. Putting this system aside, the proposed system shows a very well performance compared to that of the other. Thank you, and I'm ready to answer your question.